y'all, you at Twin City Firewood. I'm glad you're here, and you're welcome here anytime. I just been cutting. I've been itching to do a little cutting with my 592. I don't know if I've mentioned this much before, but I've got a Husqvarna 562, 572, and this 592 is my biggest saw. It's my newest saw, and I've wanted to talk a little bit about it in a video. I've had a couple people ask me about it, not necessarily on YouTube, but I wanted to spend a little time with it first before I said any thoughts about it. Not that anybody cares about my opinion or whatever, but I was looking at other people's videos and reviews when I was shopping for one. So it's got some pros and cons, of course. I'll do the cons first. It's heavy, for sure, and I'm just a firewood cutter, and a little bit more about me. I'm no chainsaw expert. I have spent a little time with them, not near as much as some of y'all, I understand that, but I work for a small power company, and we cut our own right of way, and we take down most of our own trees too. And so I've got a little time cutting, not logging, not timber falling necessarily, but cutting out of a bucket truck and falling a little bit. We mainly run steel at work. We have a Husqvarna 572 at work also. And so anyways, that being said, it's heavy, but I ain't gonna lie, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me cutting firewood. If you watched any of my videos, you see how I stage the logs. I put them on kind of like sawhorses in a way. So the weights, you can tell if you've cut with a couple hours, yeah, you can feel it. It's not a big deal though cutting firewood, in my opinion. Now I wouldn't want to be in the bucket truck cutting with it for long periods of time, because you're working from your waist up in a bucket truck. You can't really get your back straight a lot of times. You're like this. So we use a 572 quite a bit. We run a 24-inch bar on it, and it does great. But I wouldn't want to run it all day up in the bucket, because it just wears you out. The other thing is it's loud. Everybody knows that. If you've been around it, you've known that. If you've watched any videos on it, you know that it's loud. But I'm gonna tell you what, that it doesn't bother me a bit, because when I'm running this saw or any of my saws, I got my ears in. I got my earbuds in, is what I call them, my ears. But I got those noise canceling earbuds, and I'm listening to some music when I'm cutting or running or on a tractor or anything. The 562 doesn't bother me without them. That's about the only saw I would run without them, and even then I'd like to have them in. So yeah, it's loud, but if you got hearing protection, it won't bother you. It sounds like a little dirt bike running. It's that loud. The other thing is, it's a little hard to pull when it's cold, in my opinion. Some people, I think, would argue with that. A buddy of mine has one, and he didn't think it's all that hard. And it seems like to me it's just when it's cold, it might be a little hard to pull. It's honestly not bad. And once it gets warmed up, it's one of the best cranking saws that I have. It may be the best cranking saw that I have warmed up. It's usually just first pull. And so anyways, there's just a few of the little cons, but the pros outweigh the cons in my opinion. But as far as the pros go, power, everybody knows it's powerful. I think it's 93 cc. It's got the power, and I run a 24-inch bar on this saw when I'm cutting firewood. I love it, absolutely love it. I run a 20-inch bar on my 572 and also on my 562. But I had previously been running a 24-inch bar on my 572. And it does good. It'll pull a 24-inch bar okay. But when I bury it in the wood, all this wood here behind me, there's some pretty good sized logs, and it's all in between. It's almost every bit of it's over 30 inches, and some of it's upwards towards 34, 36 inches. So I bury that bar in it. And I noticed when I would do that with my 572, it would bog it down. And sometimes in the cut, when it had a little pressure on it, I'd have to get my wedges out and help it out. I didn't have to get my wedge out one single time cutting these. Now I'm not saying it never happens, but I'm saying it does happen less with the 592 because it has the power, if you stay in the cut, to work its way out. Just my opinion now. And so it's got some power. You can lean into it. It don't care. It just keep cutting. Speed. If I got a pile to cut up, and it don't even have to be big wood. If it's just the size of my waist or bigger, I'm grabbing this 592 because I can get through it. It's like going from a darn tractor style mower to a zero turn. You know, I mean, it's fast, and it just rips right through the wood. And like I said before, you're not really carrying all the weight all the time as a firewood cutter, especially when you're staged it. So you're just kind of letting it do its job, and it does it well. So like I said, I'm no expert. These are just some of the thoughts I have. Another thing would be a positive is the cost for that class of saw, that power 93cc. It's a little cheaper than the 500i when I was shopping around. I bought this one from a website, Charlie D. Stalls, and they're a little cheaper. But there's some reasons behind that. The warranty is different. I came real close to buying a steel 500i. It's a little cheaper, but I do want to run the 500i one of these days. I see these guys on YouTube, and they love them. They love them. So I'm not hating on them at all. I might regret buying this saw if I run a 500i. I don't know, but so far I really like this saw, and I just thought if anybody was out there shopping or curious, here you go. Here's your little information. You can do what you want to with it, but there you go. And I'll span you around and show you a little bit what I cut. All this wood here, I don't know if you can all see it in the camera, but it didn't even use a tank of gas on this saw. So I thought that was pretty good, and I buried the bar every time, like I said. And it still got a little gas left in the tank, not much, but it still does. So it doesn't just eat you up in gas. When you run a tank of gas out of that 592, you about ready for maybe a little break anyway, you know. So appreciate y'all watching. I'll show you a little bit how much wood I got. There was one log in here. I just put it in the burn pile, and I'm trying to get better at that because I hate to waste anything, but it had a little rod in it and it had a big crotch on it. So I just took the tractor and put it in my burn pile, and I'll show you why here in a minute. I've got more wood right now than I may have ever had on my place. So if any of y'all are around here and want to come help, y'all come on. I'll send you my coordinates. And but if you've watched any of my stuff, I run a super splitter, kinetic splitter, and I have an inverted log splitter goes on the front of my tractor. I run it off the I run it off my third function off the front of my tractor, and it'll bust this stuff up no problem, but it doesn't like crotches and notches. So I'm getting better at just getting rid of that stuff because honestly, it's just not worth the time. And I've heard other y'all mention that too. So thank y'all for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, whatever it is you feel like doing. Appreciate you spending a little time with me. I hope you come back. Y'all stick with me. I'll show you what I did with all these wood chips that old Pumpkin brought me. He's my tree guy. See ya. I don't know if y'all knew this or not. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But on these auto-tune Husqvarna saws, when it's hot, it's been running, you can do a hot restart. When warmed up and it's hot, you put that handle on choke and then manually put it back down without hitting the trigger, and it usually fires right up first pull, and it'll be high idle, and then you just hit the trigger and it'll go back. It's pretty neat. Old Pumpkin, he brings me most of my wood. And he brought me 2 big old load of wood chips, and I like to spread them out where I keep my totes and where I do my cutting. It just keeps the wood clean. It keeps the weeds and stuff from growing up around my totes. It keeps me from spraying Roundup also. And he has brought me some wood. There's some red oak he brought me recently. I went and got that hickory. I think 1, 2 loads of red oak there. So 3 loads of red oak. There's some pecan. Some of that is really nice stuff. Some of it I won't fool with. And there's some older oak. Sorry to wave you around. But here's some more of these wood chips. And when I get into delivering heavy, I'll spread the rest of these wood chips where these totes go. But it makes it look nice. I like the looks of it. I think it helps me sell a little wood, because people think, well, if you keep your place up, you know, you're doing all right with your firewood, trying to go to that little extra trouble. There's another load of pecan back there. Some really good looking stuff. I got some customers gonna be happy about that. Some more oak, red oak, white oak, 2 big loads of white oak, and then another load of red oak. So I ain't hurting for wood. I'm gonna have to get busy and get to cutting. Y'all come back. Thank you for coming. See ya.